Okay, get this. Just 2 months, only 2 months after headlining huge festivals in Europe, Sujit, Boardmasters, Grammy winner Nelly Furtado, she's 46 now, suddenly announces she's taking an indefinite break from live performing.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. And for everyone who sent in sources on this, thanks. By the way, great stuff.
Yeah.
What really jumps out is, like you said, this wasn't someone winding down.
No way.
The comeback tour was actually doing really well, critically, commercially, and then, boom, she just walks away.
Right. That's exactly why we're diving into this today.
Yeah.
You asked us to look into everything around Furtado's decision, and, well, our mission here is to get past those headlines. We need to analyze how all these things came together, the, intense public pressure, but also her own history, patterns we've seen before.
And that recent clinical diagnosis, too, which adds a whole new layer.
Exactly. These seem like the real reasons she stepped off the stage.
So we're going to trace that timeline, right? Connect the dots between that really toxic online shaming incident back in August 2025.
Yeah.
And the announcement she made in October. And then, like you said, overlay that with her, 25-year history of kind of stepping back to protect herself. It really reframes everything.
Okay, let's unpack it. Starting with the announcement itself.
Yeah.
That landed around October 24th, 25th, 2025. And it wasn't like a slick PR statement or anything?
No. Our sources are clear. It was this long, really personal post on social media aimed right at her fans.
Which says a lot about how she wanted to control the narrative, doesn't it?
Totally. And the timing. She picked the exact date of the 25th anniversary of her first album, Whoa, Nelly. October 24th, 2000.
Wow. So it wasn't just dropping news. It was like marking an occasion. Making a statement.
Yeah, framing it. And she used that carousel post, right? With the throwback picture, her at 20, maybe Lilith Fair.
Yeah, I think so.
And then footage from the recent Berlin show in 2025. It was like she was visually saying, okay, this chapter, the performance part, it's done. A complete 25-year arc.
Finishing the story on her terms. Powerful.
Definitely. And, looking at the media coverage, we got to be really clear about her wording because a lot of places got it wrong.
How so?
She's not retiring from music. She was very specific. She's stepping away from performing live to pursue other creative and personal endeavors.
Oh, okay. That's a crucial distinction.
Huge. She even said, quote, "I still love writing music. I'll identify as a songwriter forever."
So she's keeping the part she loves, the core identity.
Exactly. It feels less like just a creative shift and more like a surgical decision about her job, She's basically ditching the really demanding, physically tough, constantly scrutinized role of being a pop performer, but holding on to the creative songwriter part fiercely. It suggests the job of being Nelly Furtado pop star was the issue, not making music itself.
But that pivot, it still feels so jarring because, publicly, she seemed to be absolutely smashing it. The hiatus came right when this big comeback was hitting its peak. She dropped that seventh album, September 2024. First full album in 7 years. The story was solid.
And the motivation behind it, if you dig into the sources, it sounds really organic and healthy. It wasn't like she was just chasing relevance or a paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, she got inspired hearing new DJs remixing her older tracks, and her daughter was telling her how Gen Z was finding her stuff on TikTok and loving it.
Huh. So she came back because the art was calling her, basically.
Seems like it. Genuine artistic curiosity.
Okay, so she comes back as this songwriter, this artist.
Yeah.
And the tour, that Better Than Ever Summer Festival tour in 2025, it proved people were totally there for it.
Yeah, those big festival shows, Sigget, Boardmasters, Manchester Pride, they were packed. Reviews kept mentioning her great vocals, her stage presence.
So the numbers, the reviews, they all say success.
They do, but this is where we see that disconnect we were talking about, the qualitative side. It feels like she came back wanting to be seen as this songwriter, this musician. But the pop machine, and maybe a vocal part of the audience, they immediately wanted the 2006 Nelly. The loose era look, the spectacle.
Right. And this is where that external pressure just ramps up and gets ugly.
Yeah, that disconnect turned really toxic around August 2025. The research points to this wave of online stuff starting right around those last festival dates.
Specifically targeting her performances.
Well, yeah, clips from the shows, especially Boardmasters, went viral. But the comments, they weren't about the music or the show. Sources describe them as, overwhelmingly misogynistic, just focus entirely on how she looked, the fact she'd gained some weight.
Oof. And they used her own songs against her, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the really cool part. People twisting her lyrics into these awful fat jokes. Stuff like, I'm like a bird.
Yeah.
A big bird. Or that gross man-eater comment.
Wow. It's like weaponized nostalgia, but in the worst way.
Exactly. Weaponizing nostalgia. It's like some people wanted the hits, the memories, but they refused to accept the actual 46-year-old woman singing them.
Demanding she look like she did almost 20 years ago as the price of admission for her own comeback.
Pretty much.
So how did she react? Did she just take it? The sources say she fought back, right?
Oh, yeah. Even earlier in the year, like January 2025, she posted urging people to have a body-neutral 2025.
Yeah.
And apparently took legal action over fake cosmetic surgery rumors.
Okay, so she wasn't silent.
Not at all. And then that final, like, visual statement at Manchester Pride, right after the worst of the online shaming, August 24th.
What happened there?
She wore this defiant outfit,
Yeah.
an oversized T-shirt with the cartoon woman's body printed on it, and that big, whoa, Nelly, belt buckle, basically saying, here I am, this is me, get over it.
That takes guts. But constantly having to fight back like that, it must be exhausting.
Totally. Mentally, emotionally draining.
So let's look at the timing again, the direct link. The worst of the body shaming hits in August 2025. Her very last live show was Superbloom in Munich, August 30th.
Right.
And then the hiatus announcement comes less than 8 weeks later, mid to late October.
That timeline is tight. It really, really suggests that toxic public reaction was the tipping point, the final straw.
Like she put herself out there, saw the response, and just said, nope, not doing this.
Pretty much. Tested the waters, found them freezing cold and full of sharks, and decided to get out of the performance pool.
But couldn't you argue, 8 weeks is still some time? Maybe it was more complicated. Tour stuff, money, burnout, not just the online comments.
That's fair. And if 2025 was all we looked at, yeah, you could say it's complex, but this is where connecting it to her whole career becomes so important. Because this isn't a one-off reaction. It fits a pattern, doesn't it? A pattern of self-preservation that goes back decades.
Right. Okay, let's talk about that. The big historical parallel everyone points to is After Loose, 2006, global mega hit album.
Biggest female pop star on the planet, arguably. Sold, 10 million copies of that album? Insane success.
Yeah. And yet,
peak success, 2007, she has what she later called a nervous breakdown on stage.
I remember hearing about that.
She said it was total exhaustion, the crazy touring schedule, but also, and this is key, feeling like a fraud, believing people only liked her image, not her actual music.
Wait, that feeling liked for the image, not the music,
Yeah.
that's exactly what the 2025 online stuff was doing.
Yeah.
Demanding the image over the artist.
Precisely. And that 2007 crisis, it led to her first big disappearance. She deliberately retreated, went back to Canada, just stepped out of the whole pop machine.
Voluntarily walked away from the top spot.
She did. And she kind of did it again after her 2017 album, The Ride, another break. And during that time, she wasn't just chilling. She was actively trying to, unlearn the industry pressures, the rigidity.
What does she do?
Took classes, playwriting, ceramics, apparently even worked shifts in a friend's record store.
Yeah.
Very hands-on, grounded, non-performance things.
Interesting. Trying to reconnect with something different.
Yeah, and the language she used back then about unlearning rigidity, it really echoes the 2025 statement about pursuing controlled creative stuff now.
So it's a consistent strategy. Huge success. Hits a wall, psychologically or with the pressure, then pulls back deliberately to protect herself and her creativity.
Exactly. But
Well,
there's one more piece, a final layer that honestly reframes this whole 25-year pattern.
Okay. What is it?
The sources mention that sometime in her 40s, Nelly Furtado got diagnosed with inattentive type ADHD.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now think about that diagnosis. Connect the known symptoms, things like intense fatigue from overstimulation, potential for overwhelm or breakdowns under pressure, maybe challenges with rigid schedules or complex logistics. Connect all that to the actual demands of being a global pop star on tour.
Oh, okay. Walk me through that. What's the clash?
Well, think about a massive tour. It's constant chaos, right?
Yeah.
Insane travel, tight schedules, complex choreography you have to nail every night, nonstop interviews and meet and greets, and being looked at, scrutinized constantly.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly stressful for anyone.
Right. But for someone managing ADHD, that specific combination of sensory overload required rigidity and lack of control over your environment. It can be uniquely, profoundly draining.
So the 2007 breakdown, the exhaustion, it could be seen through that lens. Overstimulation, executive function, just overloaded.
It certainly offers a compelling framework. It suggests her 2025 decision isn't like an emotional failure or just running away. It's maybe a really smart, calculated accommodation.
Stepping away from the most overwhelming, least controllable part of the job, the live performance spectacle.
Yeah. And focusing instead on the part she can control, the creative part. Songwriting. It looks like necessary self-care, aligning her work with how her brain works best.
Wow. Okay, that changes the perspective quite a bit.
Doesn't it? So her hiatus becomes this really powerful statement culturally, too. She comes back, faces misogyny, ageism, this demand that she basically hasn't aged since 2006.
The price of entry for her own music?
Right. And by refusing to perform under those conditions, she's rejecting that whole toxic all-or-nothing thing the industry throws at women, especially aging women.
It's like the ultimate act of body neutrality almost.
Yeah.
Faced with demands for her 2006 body, she just said, okay, then you don't get the performance.
Exactly. And it secures her future musically, too. By saying songwriter forever, she's given herself permission. She can write for others, produce, maybe drop music without the grueling promo tours.
Her legacy's safe. 45 million records sold. Now she can build on it her way.
So stepping away now, right at the peak of this successful comeback, it doesn't read like she fell off. It reads like she had the courage, the self-awareness to choose herself over the machine.
Choosing self-preservation over those, frankly, dehumanizing demands.
Which really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it, for you, the listener, to chew on. Nelly Furtado had the hits, the comeback buzz, everything going for her, and still face this intense pressure to conform physically. So, is it actually possible for any woman pop star, especially one who isn't 22 anymore, to make a high-profile comeback without facing this exact same impossible demand, this pressure to defy time? Her exit kind of suggests maybe the rules for women in pop are still fundamentally broken.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.